Hey, Alex with Brownell Boat Stands here. Today we're going to take a walk through of our BL5 manual boat lift system. We're going to take it out of the box and get it all set up. This system comes with 2 lifts for the front of the boat, 2 lifting stands for the back of the boat, and a pair of keel stands to support the boat once the trailer's out of the way. Comes on a pallet in 2 identical boxes just like this. Each one has the same contents. So in this setup we have our optional wheel assemblies, which we'll get into once the whole lift is put together. And you want to basically get everything out of the box because the first step in assembly. So the L-shaped frame is going to form one of our lifts, and what we're going to add to this frame are 2 of these wings, one on each side. We'll just get everything opened up and then we'll start putting it together. This is the cover for the base frame, which is going to allow the wheels of the trailer to roll smoothly over the lift. Have your rod, that'll be the main lifting mechanism for the front of the boat. In each box you'll have a fastener kit, which is going to have all the fasteners you need to put the whole thing together, as well as a bearing and some grease for the bearing. There's our lifting head. So now I've got everything pretty much laid out. Each lift comes with a roller bearing, which is going to go between the handle and the lifting head. Just makes it a lot easier to get the lift when you start putting a real load on the lifting head. You're gonna take your Liqui-Moly grease, cut the tip off, so you just get a very small hole, and then before you put everything together, you're gonna grease the bearing, and that's gonna make it easier to lift, make the whole thing operate more smoothly. It's also gonna keep the bearing from corroding if it gets left out in the elements. Inside the bearing, there's a little bit of play in all the rollers. So you want to just get the tip in between the rollers and just go around and just squirt a little in between each roller. You can't really overdo it. Some of the grease is going to work its way out as you use the bearing anyway. Work it in there a little bit. All right, we're going to start on the assembly of the base frame first. In your hardware kit, you got a few different size fasteners for the base frame, your 1/2-inch zinc plated bolts, nuts and washers. All you really need are 3 wrenches and 3 sockets, 9/16, 3/4 and 15/16. Washer on each side. And you do want to make sure you're doing this part of the assembly on as flat a ground as you can find. Then get your 3/4-inch socket and wrench and just tighten them down. Make it nice and tight. You don't have to go crazy. And then you're gonna take your base plate. That's just gonna drop right on. It has these pieces of angle welded to the bottom, so it holds itself in place. And then again, that's going to allow the trailer wheels to roll smoothly over that. Next step, 5/8 grade 8 bolt and washers and nut. There's a hole at the unthreaded end. You can just lay the rod right down on the ground for now to keep it safe. And then a 15/16 socket. And this one does not need to be super tight. Just needs to, you want to engage the threads or the nylon on the nut and just snug it up against the 2 brackets with the holes. A little more. Okay. And then the rod does have some play on the diameter of the bolt, and so the rod sits on the bolt itself. It doesn't sit on the blue frame, and that just gives it the ability to move a little bit as the frame flexes under load, which is normal. You're gonna have plenty of leftover grease, and just to again make things run a little more smoothly, you can take the fine tip off and just gonna run a bead of grease kind of on each side, down each side of the rod, and then we'll put the handle nut on and run it up and down to spread that grease out, and then once we load it up, it'll be nice and smooth. Just be careful with the rod leaning up against the frame. You do not want it to fall on your foot. And then we'll just run it up and down really quick, spread the grease out. So also in your hardware kit, you've got a big hardened steel washer. That washer is gonna go on top of the handle, and that just provides a smooth, flat surface for the bearing to sit on, because the tops of the handles are not always perfectly flat and smooth. So you got your handle, your washer, your bearing, and then it's time for the lifting head. This is a good time to have a partner. The head has roller bearings inside it. So with the arm pointing out toward the lifting side, you want to line it up, get one bearing up against the front, and then bring it right down, engage the rod, and then the second bearing will sit on the back of the rectangular tube. I can just drop it down to you. And you're just gonna slide it down and let it sit on the handle and the bearing. And our last step, got a handle and 3/8 bolt, wrench and socket. Again, you're just snugging it up. You don't need to compress the tube against the handle. You want it to have a little bit of play in there. So that's the full assembly of the basic lift unit. We have an optional wheel assembly kit. So without the wheel assembly, you can kind of just manhandle the thing around. If you're on smooth ground, it's easy enough to slide it and get it into place. But if you're gonna be storing it in your garage or shed and you wanna be able to move it around easily, really simple wheel assembly just slides right into the back there. Put your foot down and you can kick it back and wheel it around really nice and easily wherever you need to go. That's your assembly and setup on the BL5 lifting system. Check out our next video for how to use the system and get your boat off the trailer.